In this video, I'll be teaching how to use Prismacolor color pencils and working them on black paper. Color pencil work can look fabulous on really nice jet black drawing paper. The trick is understanding how to layer the colors to get the most brightest, vibrant effect. I'm going to be teaching and demonstrating how to use the color pencils on a basic shape tower, and then also how to use them when shading facial features in. Start by doing a series of basic shapes. Try to do at least 3 different shapes so that you can practice doing different variations of color combinations. The secret to getting really bright color on black paper is by layering down white color pencil underneath all of your lighter colors. In my shape tower, my light source is going to be coming from the left-hand side. So naturally, on the left-hand side of all of my shapes is going to be the brightest area. So I'm layering down nice, thick white pencil so that when I put my color on top, the white is kind of blocking that black and allowing the pure color to show. As I wrap around the shape, I'm trying to make it look 3-dimensional, obviously, I'm putting less and less white on there. Now I can start layering and building that color on top of the white. So that bottom cone I'm doing in pinks. So I've done like a really light pink right on top of the white, going into a softer pink, and now I'm kind of working in a magenta. Of course, as I'm shading, I'm working in layers, blending my colors together. So that's helping me get the soft transition in the shading that I'm always looking for. Working on black paper, you also want the black of the paper to work for you. So you'll notice in that magenta area on the right side of the cone, there's not that much actual pencil on the paper. So I'm allowing some of that black to come through and just lightly layering that magenta on there, and that's going to create that darker value that I'm looking for. Here you can see I've started on the little sphere right on the top of the cone, and I've started in the same way. So started by adding that nice layer of white underneath of my color. And in this shape, I'm doing a transition from like a lime green into blues. And I would encourage all viewers out there to really experiment with the color combinations you're transitioning into. You never know what will look really cool and interesting and fun in your artwork unless you experiment. So take some risks in your artwork and see like what kind of looks cool. So a little tip that I think is really helpful is labeling and listing the colors that you use in your artwork, especially for this project. So on Prismacolor pencils, there's a little number at the end of the pencil. And so I'm doing a little tester of the color that I'm using and then writing down the number of the pencil that I'm working with. This helps me, so in the future, if I ever want to kind of go back and do another project with color pencil on black paper, I can look at my notes and then see what colors I used, and that will kind of shorten the experimentation period in the future. So make a little list of all of the pencils you use for each shape in your idea sketchbook. So I'm just going to take a few moments and finish up the rest of my shape tower, doing each shape in a different variation and different color combination. And so when I go to do my project, I have all of these different experimentations and color combinations that I could potentially use in my project. All right, who's ready to kick it up a notch? Using this method of color pencil blending on black paper can make really interesting and artistic portraits. Before starting a large portrait, I want to start by drawing a few facial features and rendering them in some of these expressive color combinations that I've practiced with. This way, I'm figuring out what color combination I actually really want to use for an entire portrait before starting the entire thing. So here you can see I've already actually completed the eye, and now I'm working on the nose, and you can see that the application is the same as I did in the basic shapes. So sketched out my shape, started blocking in my lightest areas with the white pencil. So my lightest areas are on the tip or the ball of the nose, up on the middle of the bridge, and then on the tops of those nostrils. And then I'm starting to layer my colors, lightest to darkest. I've also kind of experimented with some different skin colors, so kind of working around the nose, seeing what it could look like if I blended in some lime green into the blue. And then I'm also using that black pencil to kind of go back into my shadowy areas. So you can have a black pencil kind of work with the color at the same time. So those are all things to take into consideration. As I start to finish up here, I'm just adding in the last bit of skin tone around my mouth, adding the little highlighted areas around my lips and some little details on that bottom lip. And there we go, all complete. Give it a try yourself, and the important thing is to remember to experiment and have fun.